there is a sowing of the seeds of greed, hatred, and corruption, and you reap the chaos. The very future of this nation depends on how we respond to the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. What are you going to do about your poverty? What are you going to do about your racism? Not just against Black people, but against indigenous peoples, against Asian, against Jews, against Muslims, against Mexicans and Latinos. What are you going to do about your materialism, your addiction to spectacle and superficial things of money and commodities? And then what are you going to do about your militarism? And this moment of reckoning, my dear brother, means right now there's a massive crisis in the legitimacy of any leadership who actually speaking out. Of course, the Republican Party is following its neo-fascist gangster who's the leader. The Democratic Party, neoliberal leader. We must have a spiritual, moral, and democratic awakening among all of the citizens who care, recognizing we're going to disagree in the public square, but recognizing that we are losing our democracy. If our system has become so choked by greed and hatred and contempt that it doesn't allow for reform, then the choice is between nonviolent revolution, violent explosions that occur over and over again. And I'm opting for nonviolent revolution. By revolution, all I mean is what Martin Luther King meant. Fundamental sharing of power, resources, respect, and wealth, redistribution of wealth. We are in this together. We are also a part of the world, and the world is looking. Chinese empire against our own empire. Can it undergo the kind of democratic awakening? Because it needs fundamental change as well. What about our brothers and sisters in Latin America? What about our brothers and sisters in the Middle East? Oh, precious Africa. It is a global affair. And Noam Chomsky reminds us we've got ecological catastrophe waiting for us. And if we have leaders that view it as a hoax, then the whole planet goes under. And it's all over, and all you got is the cockroaches. That's where we are now. But I do have hope. Black people been through slavery. Black people been through neo-slavery called American terrorism and lynching. And we've been through so much hatred, and we've always produced magnificent love warriors. Love forces us to take off the mask. We know we cannot live within, but fear we cannot live without. Yes, those love warriors. Where are they? Where are the love warriors to teach our young people, no matter what color, put love and justice in your struggle and get that revenge out? But we acknowledge the pain and tell those at the top that the days of you reaping this chaos based on your greed is producing precisely the opposite of what Amos, what Esther, what Jesus, now what Muhammad was all about. Justice, justice, choose ye justice. Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. The intersection of anger and massive neglect, massive poverty, dilapidated housing, decrepit school systems, not enough jobs with a living wage, no access to health care, and the collapse of family, the collapse of community, the collapse of schools. No democracy can survive when its public life, its public goods are so privatized and militarized and individualized. We've got to look at the best of our past in this moment and see whether we can mobilize it. If we can, we'll make it out. But if we don't make it out, then we just become another empire that had democratic possibilities, that understood itself as the great city on the hill, the grand exemplar of liberty, but never came to terms with your slavery, never came to terms with your Jim Crow, never came to terms with your working class that was unable to gain access to jobs with a living wage, never came to terms with the humanity of the vast majority of humankind, women, never came to terms with the rich humanity of our precious trans and gay and lesbian brothers and sisters, never came to terms with the new immigrants Now, I do believe, we've got a whole lot of magnificent human beings in this country. The problem is that it's hard for that to spill over given the rigidity of our structures. And thank God that those in the street come from all colors, all genders, all sexual orientations. Mm-hmm. So the public lynching of a precious Black brother, our dear brother George, sparks something deep in the souls of every color, every gender in this nation to get to speak. But we do have to acknowledge the degree to which we got to keep track of the best of who we are and render accountable everybody at the highest level as well as those on the ground.